G'day, Steve Morgan, Fishing Media here for Tackle Fridays, and it is late on a Friday afternoon here at Hinze Dam. Been a hard week on the edit actually, been editing a whole lot of stuff up that I shot for Mercury up in Darwin all week, and I thought today's the fishing day, so I spent this morning between 2 o'clock and 6 o'clock down catching a few and tagging a few mulloway, and this afternoon the weather was great, so Nicole and I came down here to Hinze Dam because Nicole hasn't caught a bass yet this year, and she tournament directed a whole bass series already. So just quietly, score was 7-all out on the lake until I said, we're going to go home, pull your lines in. And I saw one more bass and I caught another one, so I sucked in Nicole. 8-7. You have to come bass fishing again to do it. But Hinze is fishing really well at the moment, and it's been fishing really traditionally at the moment, and that's what I'm going to talk about this afternoon. I've had a really great winter going through and catching bass on my Garmin Live Scope. And my Humminbird Mega Live too. But now the water's warming up a bit, the days are getting longer, those fish are sort of, they're changing their patterns. All those suspended fish are nearly gone from here. But the fish are sitting on points, forming up under your boat, doing all the things that bass normally do. Now, that might be normally do, we might know about that, but you may not. So let me explain to you, and I'll put a few cutaways here of live scope footage to explain exactly what bass do. Now, when we get to a lake, and when we got here today, you put the traditional sounder on and we start motoring down the lake, you will see bass scattered through the water column. But usually when you get on the lake and you see several bass at a certain depth, they're normally at that depth the whole way through the lake. Now today that was 40 feet down. It was fairly deep. That's because right now there's no thermocline. The top water and the bottom water are very similar temperatures, and those bass can be anywhere between 10 foot and 70 feet down. And so my first tip is the first bass you see for the day are normally the bass, the depth they're going to be at all day. So we ran down to near the dam wall today, and then we point hopped all the way back and we let the bass form up under the boat. What's forming up? Well, Australian bass, I don't know if American bass do it, but Australian bass come and sit under your boat. If they follow a lure in, they'll follow a lure in, then they'll go sit under your boat and their mates will come with it. If you're just sitting there off a point, and we sat in 40 foot of water off the points, the bass will come and form up and sit under your boat. They do that as well. And on your traditional 2D sounder, it sort of looks like this. You have little lines that go across, and what a line going across your sounder screen is, it's something pinging off a fish the whole time, which isn't really moving. If they're wobbly lines, they're just fish that are swimming up and down, and they're not passing through the beam, they're staying in the beam. We call it forming up, and on some of the harder fish lakes, those fish are pretty hard to catch. As soon as they come and sit under your boat, you're sort of in trouble. But at Hinze at the moment, it's pretty easy. And the technique that we used, and Nicole was good at it, she had me about 6'3" at one stage. We use a small paddle tail plastic. This isn't the one you were using, is it, Nicole? I'm going to get your chartreuse one from here. Here is the gun bait. You had one of those. You had the little suspect on a VMC Gripar jig head. That's, I think, a number 1.0 or 2.0. And what Nicole was doing was, as soon as they would form up under the boat, you'd see them on the 2D sounder, not on live, and you would just drop that to the bottom in 40 foot of water. This is one of my brim rods with 3 pounds straight through fluorocarbon. That's fine. Otherwise, a braid leader rod like I've got here, that's fine as well. Have to take a bit more time with them with these, but we're not fishing in the structure, we're fishing outside the structure at Hinze here. As soon as it hits the bottom, it's just a slow roll. So you might pop it off the bottom and then you slow roll it, and you'll see on some of the cutaways here how the bass actually just follow it up and up and up, and a bass can come all the way from 40 foot all the way till they feel distended, until the barotrauma kicks in, and normally that's between 10 and 15 feet below the boat. They'll peel off and go back down to the bottom. Sometimes the bass will hit it. When they start feeling uncomfortable, then they'll grab it and go to the bottom. So it's not unusual to have a bass follow it for 15 or 20 feet up. Now on the 2D sounder, you can see them, if it's vertical under the boat, you'll just see all the fish rise behind your lure. You might be able to see your lure, but you can see the behaviour of the fish. Same as on the 2D sounder, you can see the fish go down as you drop the lure down. You know they've seen it when all of the whole school heads down after it. It's a pretty cool bite, the slow rolling bite. As you're slow rolling along, a bass will just grab it and zing, away they go. So, so a couple of things we had to do today. We had to vent a few fish. Venting a fish, I've done a little segment that I'm going to run. Let's run it now, and I'll come back to you and tell you why we have to do it. I've got a bass here that I just caught in about 25 to 30 foot of water, and I want to give you a bit of a reminder course on how you fizz or vent or needle a bass. to let some of the air out of their swim bladder so that they can sit upright in the live well, but more importantly, their internal organs don't get crushed for hours and hours before a weigh-in. In fact, if you catch them in deep enough water, it'll be no good for the fish at all. So I've got a 12 gauge hypodermic needle here. And what I do is I count back 1, 2, 3, 4, and I go directly behind the pectoral fin there. And I flick the scale up. Firstly, I make sure that there's nothing in the needle. You'd hear it, and if I put it underwater here, you see the air bubbling out of it. So you don't squeeze it. If you squeeze it too hard, that fish will lie on his side on the bottom because he hasn't got enough air inside him to hold his balance. But once that air's equalised, pull that needle out, that fish, he's ready to go. Just like that. So that's how you vent a fish, and if you're going to keep a fish in a live well, you've got to keep it. You've got to vent it. You've got to take that pressure off the internal organs. The fish survive really well if you do it with those needles. The needles are dead cheap. I just bought 112 gauge needles for ABT. It cost like $13 delivered off Amazon. It's crazy. The other thing that we did today is we caught 3 or 4. How many tagged fish we catch, Nicole? 3 or 4 tagged fish. And it's pretty important to report the data of those tagged fish. In Queensland especially, there's no monitoring in freshwater by government. The stocking groups have to do it themselves. One way we can help monitoring is reporting the tagged fish. I've got a video I did on how to do that. Let's run that now. So on Hinze Dam, just caught a tag bass. A lot of people ask me what to do when they catch a tag bass. There's a tag in the back here. Often they're covered in a bit of moss and stuff, so you need to flick that off and you'll see that this one here has got a tag number. So take a photo of that, Y31486. And 2 measurements you need to know. Mouth closed on the ruler, fork length there, which is 37 and 39 tips. So normally take a photo of the whole fish, photo of the tag, record those 2 measurements and ring the 1-800 number on there, or go to the Suntag page and report the recapture. You will get a certificate, the person that tagged it will get a certificate, and you will contribute to freshwater fisheries monitoring. Report your tagged fish, don't just let them go. So there you go. Good afternoon on Hinze Dam. Sun's just going down now. We're going to get out of here before that gate gets locked. The gates do get locked here overnight. But it's a great lake to fish at the moment. If you want to do some traditional bass fishing, catch some fish slow rolling, some grubs, bang, you can do it here.